What's up, everybody? So, Indomitus is out on shelves. The new edition's basically kicked off. They had a bit of um, a reveal party stream thing on the Warhammer community page, the launch party preview concept or whatever. And I don't watch the Twitch stuff. I just don't. It's not really something I find too enjoyable to watch. I read their article stuff later. I just don't tend to watch it. But they did showcase some cool things in this article. The Gladiator is an awesome looking vehicle. I like it. The Monolith is gorgeous. Really looking forward to that. But they also showcased the Necron and Space Marine codices. I want to talk specifically the Space Marine one because it's doing something not new. It's doing something old. It's doing something that was back in the day, third ed to fourth ed. Where the core Space Marine Codex is quite literally the Codex Astartes. It's quite literally a core book of which all first founding forces, and in this case the Death Watch, make use of. So that's right, if you didn't hear this, the standard Space Marine Codex encompasses everything that it normally does, but it's also the Codex, the core book you utilize for Dark Angel, Space Wolves, Blood Angels, and Death Watch. Gone are their respective codices. In their place is a supplement, which I'm totally fine with, but people hear this and they freak out. So relax. But anyways, this is the way in which they're doing things, and it makes a lot of sense to me. And it was something that I was kind of wondering if they would do it or not earlier in the prior edition, to be honest, with all the Primaris stuff that was coming out and all that jazz. So basically how this works is every standard Space Marine entry, I'm guessing, every, you could say, universal Space Marine entry is going to be in Codex Space Marines. That doesn't necessarily mean your respective force is gonna suddenly magically gain access to everything if it didn't have access to it already. There may still be restrictions in your respective supplements, so keep that in mind. Now, all the Primaris stuff is pretty much universal. We haven't seen any restrictions there at all, which works. It's fine. You know, was it Blade Guard veterans? I already forgot the term. Those guys in Deathwing colors look awesome. Would I have preferred a special Primaris Deathwing unit that was uniquely their own thing for the Dark Angels? Of course. But the Blade Guard veterans are just fine. Nothing against them. That's what I mean, where it's, you know, I would have liked to have seen a bit more specialization that way, but Universal Primaris stuff is fine. But, for example, Dark Angels don't have access to Centurion squads right now. I don't necessarily think we're all of a sudden going to gain access to them with this new codex. We might. I could be wrong. It's entirely plausible. But we won't know until we read the Dark Angel supplement to see. So I have with me right now, as I'm rambling, the Dark Angels codex from back in the day. Back in the 3rd ed to 4th ed time period. This is the mini codex that I did from the archive on. I also have the Blood Angels one. I'll do it from the archive on that sooner rather than later, given the topicalness of it. But anyways, in here we have the Dark Angel special rules, the Dark Angel special war gear, the Dark Angels special characters, and the Dark Angels special specific units that replace other units. So, for example, in the Elite section of the Dark Angels Codex, we see Deathwing Terminator Squad. Now, in the Heavy Support, there's nothing uniquely Dark Angel about it. So it lists the Devastator Squad, Whirlwind, Predator, Land Raider, and Vindicator, because that's what we had back in the day. It lists them and it says see Codex Space Marines, meaning you can take these guys, but you need the Space Marine Codex to do it. This old Dark Angels Codex, if it was something that they are doing it nowadays, if they were using terminology nowadays back then, would have been called a supplement, just as the Blood Angels one, but it was called a Codex back then. So, you need this and the Space Marine Codex to play back in the 3rd ed to 4th ed time period. And I imagine this new edition Space Marine Codex and supplements coming are going to function very similarly. And that's why I'm totally okay with it, because it made a lot of sense. It's easy enough to navigate. Anything that's uniquely Dark Angel in terms of rules, war gear, characters, and units is in the supplement book. And then things that they can use in addition to their unique stuff, it just says see Space Marine Codex. I wouldn't be surprised if they stated it that way, or in a place of doing that, I wouldn't be surprised if in their special rules section of the supplement it says unit restrictions. Dark Angel faction, Dark Angel and successor factions cannot take Centurions, and Centurion Assault and Centurion Devastators or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to restrict something, they do it one of those two ways. They list everything you can take, or to make it even easier to follow, they give you a much smaller listing of what you can't take. And then everything else is either in your supplement book or you take it from the Space Marine Codex. Now, what I'm honestly more curious about is you Space Wolf players, because Space Wolves have a lot of things uniquely their own. They don't use tactical squads. They have Grey Hunters. I don't believe they have access to tactical squads nowadays either. They don't use Assault Marines. They use Blood Claws. They don't use Devastators. They use Long Fangs, right? Their scouts are different in concept from the scouts of every other Space Marine force. Their scouts are veterans, not initiates. They have their Thunderwolf Cavalry, right? They have their Wolfen. All of this, yes, makes it into their supplement book, no problem. But they're going to have, assuming the restrictions are the same, they're going to have a laundry list of things they can't take, which is pretty much everything standard Astartes that's not in their supplement book, which is fine. It just seems a little excessive. Of all of the first founding forces that keep a codex, as much as I'm a Dark Angel fan, I can totally see why the Space Wolves should be the ones that keep a codex for this reasoning. Now, if you're saying, well, they could just, maybe they won't have that, and you just take tactical squads in place, and you just call them Grey Hunters for old time's sake, it's not that simple. They are actually different from their Codex Astartes brethren in that regard. The squads weren't just renamed squads, but hopefully it doesn't come to that. Now, the Grey Knights, before I go any further, are getting their own codex. The Warriors of Titan that the Grey Knights are too unique and different in war gear and specialization. They will have their own codex. They stated that in their article, which obviously makes total sense. But Dark Angel, Space Wolves, Blood Angels, and Death Watch will be getting supplements in place of getting their own self-contained codices. And again, if 75% of your codex is going to be the same for all those forces anyway, might as well do it this way, in my opinion. Because I think, honestly, if you truly think about it, and of course this is now going to come down to GW performing adequately in this case, but in doing it this way, it frees up space. I'm not saying the supplements are going to be codex length. They might be, at least the length of what the standard Dark Angel and Blood Angel codices are now. But in place of rehashing the literal everything that's the same you can take, if they just do a listing of what you can't take, and then they can go into so much more detail of the things that are specialized for you, give you perhaps more war gear, more special rule capability, maybe even, or an additional special character or two. There's room there to free up army list entry wise to give you stuff. So that there is definitely a case to be made for getting a bit more stuff out there for those forces, make them feel still uniquely their own thing, which they are. But this is all speculation. I don't know what will be in the core Astartes Codex. I have to imagine you're not going to flood that codex with multiple new character entries that are just for those four codices turn supplements now. I have to imagine you're not going to flood, for example, the Elite Choice section with Space Marine Terminator, Assault Terminator, Wolf Guard Terminator Armor, Deathwing Terminators, and Blood Angel Assault Terminators, if there's anything special enough to warrant it. I mean, they're different-ish, but whatever. My point is, I don't think you're going to suddenly add three more, and there's definitely Knights, don't forget. I don't think we're going to necessarily add three more Terminator entries that are only takeable by one faction per entry, you could say. That's where I think the supplements will be coming in. So I don't know. I don't know what the overall deal is. We'll have to wait and see what they say. All I can caution anybody enthusiastically looking at things is to hold off on ordering stuff you don't have access to and haven't had access to. We specifically do not have Centurions in the Dark Angels Codex. It's been that way since Centurions have been out. We may suddenly gain access to them, which I still wouldn't use them for aesthetical reasons, but it may happen. I don't really know. But it would benefit you greatly to not impulse buy it now because you see this as the potential to get it, and wait to see, right? The problem is if you impulse buy and you are wrong in your assumption, you feel like you have been tricked when they really haven't done anything to trick you. You tricked yourself. So instead of potentially wasting some money and buying a unit you can't use, wait until your respective supplement book comes out and see what restrictions, if any, there are, and then go from there. That's my best recommendation. But yeah, that's the Space Marine Codex, and I went over that one, and I didn't talk Necrons because Necrons are Necrons, but we are seeing a real slimming down of the straight up things entitled the Codex, for sure, by the fact that Dark Angels, Space Wolves, Blood Angels, and Death Watch are now just becoming supplements for the core Space Marine book. But we really shouldn't let that bother us, in my opinion, right? It doesn't mean they are now generic and pointless. All it means is we have one book that has all the basic stuff in it, and then we're going to have a specific book that's going to give us all of our flavor and special stuff. Now, that's how it was. Then they went to everything having their own codex. Now they're kind of going back. The fact that you got to buy 2 books, is that a little bit more annoying than buying 1 book? Yeah, I can see that. But I'm all for it as long as it's done correctly. And I think GW knows what they're doing in this instance. I think they understand the implications and kind of the weight behind doing this. So I wouldn't worry, right? This isn't some fly-by-night situation for these 4 popular factions. So anyways, just my thoughts on that. Lastly, if you pre-ordered Indomitus, not made to order, but pre-ordered it, I'm curious if you got your shipment in yet. I have not. In fact, Friday night, I got my delivery details emailed to me from GW. And when I track my order, it states I won't get mine until Friday the 31st, basically a week after. Not the biggest of deals. I'm not like complaining like OMG, how unfortunate, so lame, such jerkness, nothing like that, right? I've experienced this. I've also experienced it where I believe it was with Dark Vengeance. I got it the Thursday before it came out, which, hey, that was really cool too. That was really cool, and this is less cool, but I'm still getting it. So it's not like, oh no, how dare I, or how dare they. But I'm just curious if you've pre-ordered it, not made to order, but if you pre-ordered, if you got yours yet. And if you did you get it Saturday, Friday, or the Thursday before? Thursday before, Friday before, or the Saturday of? Or what? I don't know what their rhyme or reason or their strategy is. I've pre-ordered from them before, like I said, in some of the scenarios, and I've had it happen like this, and I've had it happen where I've gotten it on time / before time. For other companies, video game wise, pre-ordering something where I get a physical thing, I've gotten it the day it launches. Right? Now, granted, digitally I already have the game preloaded, so it doesn't really matter, but I've gotten it pretty much right around its launch time. So I have to imagine the logistics behind orchestrating that isn't too difficult, but I also don't know if it's a location-based thing or whatnot. I'm just generally curious because it seems kind of like a random happenstance. Now, if you have some insider info on what determines who gets their shipment by release and who has to wait, of course, share it in the comment section as well, because I honestly have no idea, and I'm quite curious for just information's sake. Not that I can do to change it, right? You order it and they ship it when they ship it. I'm getting it, so I'm not complaining. I'm just curious. It's more of a curiosity thing. Anyways, with that said, thanks very much for tuning in. Share your thoughts in the comment section below, and until next time, take it easy.